What if you could live off your portfolio's interest without having to spend any of your principal? Wouldn't that be something? To know that every time that you look at your portfolio, your original capital is still there. With GIC rates higher than they've been in years, this seems more possible than ever. However, this can be a dangerous strategy. I recently met with a gentleman that we'll call Tom, and we helped him put together a retirement withdrawal plan. Now, a big part of putting together a retirement withdrawal plan is to figure out how the portfolio will be invested. And Tom had been investing for most of his working life, but now that he was retiring, he had heard that he should become very conservative with his portfolio in retirement. Since he would no longer be adding to his accounts, using guaranteed investments like GICs or high interest savings accounts would help him secure his future income. Tom had $1 million and needed $40,000 from his portfolio every year. It just so happened that his local credit union was offering him a GIC that would pay him 4% annually. This seemed like a no-brainer, as the 4% GIC would pay him the $40,000 that he needed, and his $1 million portfolio would stay intact as he wouldn't be spending any of his capital. However, there was one factor that Tom wasn't considering: inflation. To simplify this example, let's say that Tom could keep earning 4% per year for the rest of his retirement. So after 1 year, there's no problem. He needed $40,000 from his portfolio, and his GIC earned him $40,000 as well. However, in the future, his returns would stay the same at 4%, and his withdrawals would stay the same at $40,000 per year, but he would be losing purchasing power once we start factoring in inflation. The latest Stats Canada update for inflation came in at 3.1%. Assuming this stays consistent throughout Tom's retirement, he starts to fall behind very quickly. After 1 year, he would need $41,240 from his portfolio to be able to buy the same goods as his original $40,000. After 10 years, that would have increased to over $54,000, and after 20 years, we're looking at over $73,000 to have the same original purchasing power as the $40,000 that Tom started with. If Tom keeps withdrawing the same $40,000 per year from his portfolio, his money won't nearly go as far. Yes, Tom could start drawing on his capital to keep up with inflation, but that wasn't the point. He wanted to only spend the interest on his account and keep his principal intact. At this point in our conversation, we went back to Tom's original comments about becoming very conservative now that he was retiring. In Tom's eyes, he viewed risk as the fluctuations in his portfolio if he remained invested, and the best way to get rid of this risk was to move into more conservative investments. However, by doing this, Tom was introducing a new risk: the permanent loss of his purchasing power over time. As we can see, conservative investments aren't a free lunch. So what's the bigger risk? Inflation or portfolio fluctuations? When I think of retirement, I don't think about preserving capital. I think about growing income so that you can keep doing the things that you want to do in retirement. Now, I do agree with Tom. You should become more conservative in retirement, but you should never stop investing completely. Why? Well, let's go back to 2013 and let's assume that Tom had invested his entire portfolio in the following investment. This is a moderate portfolio with 60% in stocks and 40% in more conservative investments. If Tom withdrew $40,000 every January and increased that withdrawal by 3.1% every year to keep up with inflation, today he would have over $1.25 million in his portfolio. Psst. Inflation was much higher than that over those years. Now, past performance is not an indicator of future performance, but by investing in something that has the potential to perform better than inflation, you can keep growing your income to keep up with inflation and have your capital increase at the same time. So what's the downside? If we look at the annual returns for this investment, Tom's worst year since 2013 would have been a loss of 7.5%. Now, is that trade-off worth it? I'll let you decide. If you plan on investing, make sure to check out this video, as you don't want to fall for this trap in retirement. Hit that subscribe button and we'll see you next time.